Cancel culture is when people criticize you. Have you heard anyone say that?
Was this when people don't like what you say?
Yeah, cancel culture.
Shut you up and
cancel culture is when people take offense to something you've said on the internet. That's it. That's the sum total of cancel culture.
Offense? Is that a thing these days still?
I hear it is. This is what I'm trying to think of a charitable way of describing Owen Jones.
Can't.
Yeah, but I can't. This is what Owen Jones has recently been saying, which we'll get into in a minute. And it's obvious nonsense. And I just thought we'd cover just some events from the world of cancel culture that have happened literally in the last week that show that cancel culture is still as rife as it has ever been, at least in Britain. To be honest with you, in America, cancel culture does seem to be receding a bit. I suspect that Elon Musk is probably something to do with that, bringing lots of people back to life on Twitter and whatnot. Although saying that, YouTube hasn't got any better when it comes to all of this.
No, but Rumble's got bigger.
Rumble has got bigger, so there are more viable alternatives. And the good thing about Rumble, of course, is it's monetized. So this is important for the creator ecosphere, if you care about such things. But anyway, before we begin, go and read Harry's run-in with cancel culture that he published on the website last year, when he got essentially cancelled from the music industry, because Harry's in a band. And then they were like, that you talk about things from a conservative perspective. And Harry's like, yeah, that's legal. And they were like, yeah, not in this industry. And that was Harry, done and dusted. It's quite a good read as well, because it's just, you get a feeling for just what the environment in these cultures is like, in these areas is like. And I kind of hate it. But anyway, let's go on to Owen Jones, because I saw this going around Twitter this week.
I interrupt this segment to bring you an important message about this stuff, the dollar. Not going so well, is it? Inflation is out of control and debt is even more out of control. In fact, the US government is on the verge of spending $1 trillion a year just servicing its debt. It spends about 6.6 trillion and it only collects about 4.6 trillion in revenues. So you can see that this situation is, rapidly taking a turn for the worse. You might want to consider some gold and silver, and that is why that we've done a partnership deal with Goldco, and we've created LotusEatersGold.com. Go and check that out. It's an offer for our American viewers. You can transfer a proportion of your IRA into this, and if you do so, you're going to get some of this lovely stuff, some bonus silver thrown in on top, up to $10,000. Or you can even take delivery of the physical gold to your home address if you prefer. So if you want money that goes clang when you put it down, check out LotusEatersGold.com.
Owen Jones. Let's just watch.
I think when people often talk about cancel culture, what they mean is people on social media criticizing them. Mm-hmm. That's basically what they're talking about. And I think we've got a redefinition of freedom of speech, which is I can say things which were offensive, but nobody's allowed to say they find it offensive. That's where we've ended up. So if someone uses their platform and says things which many people consider to be racist, misogynistic, or homophobic, and then people say, well, actually, that's really outrageous what you said. They go, I've been cancelled. And then they start the I've been cancelled tour, which normally involves writing in a newspaper column about how cancelled they are, going on television to tell everyone how cancelled they are, going on radio to say how cancelled they are, maybe doing a book saying, I've been cancelled. It's like they're using a megaphone to scream at us about how silenced and cancelled they are. I just don't think it's a thing. Like, I remember the Times what's going through.
We'll leave that there. I just don't think it's a thing. Right. Okay, Owen. Which is precisely why there are constant, non-stop newspaper columns from Tommy Robinson saying, I've been cancelled, which is why he's on TV all of the time saying, I've been cancelled. This is just such an obvious lie that I thought we'd go through some really easy examples of cancel culture. These are just literally from the last week. So Andrew Doyle and Graham Linehan were going to do a comedy show. Andrew Lawrence as well, and a bunch of others who I'm not familiar with. But the three that I know there, very funny men, I got cancelled by the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. What does cancelled mean? It means they're not allowed to play there. It means they're not allowed to have that as a venue anymore. That has been taken away from them.
It's crazy because Owen Jones, he's obviously he knows what cancel culture is, but tries to portray it completely differently.
Yes.
And then when you look at comedy is always supposed to hit the line and step past the line. that's often what makes it funny, when it takes something and takes it to its extreme or nth degree.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, comedy has always been pushing the limits.
But that's the point, isn't it? Owen Jones knows that he is lying.
Yep.
We'll get back to it in a second. So they then decided, okay, we'll find a replacement venue for our Edinburgh Fringe Comedy Unleashed, and that was cancelled as well. And again, it's not that people are criticising them online. There's no reference to any online critique here. I'm sure they'd welcome online critiques because Andrew Doyle's the kind of person who enjoys that sort of thing. But no, that's not what we're talking about, Owen. We're talking about the institutions that were going to do something, taking that thing away from you because a bunch of left-wingers on Twitter whined about you. How about Scott Adams being banned from Amazon? Is that people just critiquing him online? People said, Scott Adams, you're so offensive. And Scott Adams was like, oh, I'm cancelled. Let me go on Amazon and sell my book. No, they literally took it down. But then, for some reason, he was actually reinstated after YouTube demonetized him. So who knows what's going on with Scott Adams? But they for some reason just arbitrarily were like, okay, yeah, you're not cancelled now.
It's really weird. I'd love to delve deeper. Well, not obviously today, but why YouTube turned around, because you've lots of big names that get cancelled and they get permanently cancelled, and that's it.
Yep.
So Seb Gork gets cancelled on YouTube. Obviously, Steve Bannon's cancelled on Twitter with zero comeback. And Scott Adams creating Dilbert, one of the biggest books ever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how big you are. If YouTube decides something, then it's two fingers up to you. So it would be intriguing to know why they backed down, what internal conversations were had.
Well, it would, wouldn't it? And that's the point, isn't it? There's no transparency, and you're totally at the whim of this arbitrary decision making that can just giveth and taketh away as it pleases. There's absolutely no recourse. You have no rights in any of this. And if you got everything taken away from you, you'd have no way of letting people know or objecting to it.
I'd love for a lifetime ban to only last a few days for all of us.
Wouldn't that be great? There are lots of people who were returned to Twitter and then taken away from Twitter.
Yeah.
Which
Twitter giveth and Twitter takes away.
I know. Elon, I don't think Tommy deserves the ban. I really don't. And I've said this repeatedly. I don't think Alex Jones deserves the ban.
Nope.
What did he actually say on Twitter? Remember when Alex Jones was getting mass deplatformed and Twitter was the last platform he was on? And he was on there for like a week, and Jack Dorsey was like, well, he hasn't actually broken the terms of service. And then they're like, okay, well, just the pressure's too much. We're just going to have to take you down. And it's like, you're just being totally capricious with this. This is just you saying, this is the guy we don't like. Get rid of him. It was so transparent. Anyway,
I'm surprised you could find one thing out, because it's so much information. It's just like a tsunami of whoa.
But the thing is, the things Alex Jones says, I don't actually think are actually very offensive. Right? He's actually quite a milquetoast libertarian in his own political views. Very orthodox sort of, government bad, basically. Yeah. And then he comes out with a crazy conspiracy theory, which you can say, okay, look, that's mental, but it's not against the terms of service to have a mental view. And so, like, Alex Jones, like, the best bit as well was Kanye interview. He's like, you're not really a Nazi. And Kanye's like, oh, I am actually. Alex Jones is like, right, okay, I'm not. And I disavow that completely. And so it's like Alex Jones is actually not outside of the Overton window when it comes to that sort of stuff. He never says anything about like Jews or Holocaust or anything like that. He accepts like the narrative of the 20th century that the Westerners were the good guys and we're against the Nazis for a good reason. We're for freedom. We're for, rights. He's not like mad or like, a Nazi or something. And so why is he banned? There's no reason for it apart from the powers that be don't like him.
They have decided.
Yeah. Just like Glenn Beck, by the way. Oh, did I miss that? No, I must have forgotten to put that in. But Glenn Beck was banned by Apple, which I haven't got the link there, but trust me, Glenn Beck was taken off Apple just because he's Glenn Beck. He's a right-wing radio pundit in America. Of course he has to go.
But the thing from Apple was great. You've been removed because you broke the terms of services. Click here to find out why. They click and it said, you've been removed because you broke the terms of services.
Oh,
it's like, you had no explanation. It's just repeating the same thing.
Well, it's the same thing with YouTube. Whenever someone gets like demonetized or deplatformed or whatever, it's like, well, we found your channel it wasn't in line with the terms and conditions. It's like, how?
Your 1 hour video?
Yeah.
Okay, which part?
Yeah. Well, which video? Just tell me. If you could tell me which video it was, I could at least triangulate somehow on the problem that you were taking exception to. Because, I mean, that's the thing. It's one thing having these overbearing and intrusive rules, right? That's fine. Okay, we accept that you've got overbearing and intrusive rules. Help us to follow them.
What they are, know what they are.
And know what they are, and know when we've broken them. And we will modulate ourselves for you. If you're going to be a tyrant, if you're going to run your platform like Pol Pot, okay, fair enough. What do we need to do to stay within the rules? And we'll do it. And the fact that you don't tell people kind of implies that you don't want us to be able to stay within the rules.
Yep.
And you're looking for an arbitrary reason to remove people. Again, we're so far away from Owen Jones's, well, you just don't know being criticized on the internet. Owen, I love being criticized on the internet. I love it when you try and debunk or deconstruct something I've said. It's amazing because you come out with ridiculous nonsense that I can then pick apart and make you look like a fool. I mean, another great example. So these were all just from this week, between Monday to now, 3 different examples of cancel culture, of things being taken away from people. And then, of course, we have Nigel Farage. And this was one of my favorite examples of cancel culture because Nigel Farage is a powerful and influential man, and he wasn't going to take this lying down. And so he didn't. I don't know if we can... There we go. Look at that update. Oh, it's just gold. It kind of glows out of the screen to me in a beautiful, glowing, golden, divine light, right? So the original... the original on this article was bank account shut down. Nigel's account was shut down, falling below the wealth limit, a source told the BBC. Oh, he was below the financial threshold to have this prestigious bank account. And then Nigel Farage did a freedom of information request at the bank account, and we got hold of the internal memos and documents about why they'd taken Nigel Farage down. And so the BBC updated with this. We acknowledge that the information we reported, whose decision on Nigel Farage's account did not involve considerations about his political views, turned out not to be accurate.
You mean a lie?
You lied. You lied. You got one person from the inside who told you a lie, and you were like, that's good enough for us.
Yep.
Print it. Like go to press. And now you have to publish this retraction because you just didn't do... it's like there's not a single journalist at the BBC. I mean, any journalist will say, well, look, you need it from 2 reliable sources, and you had it from 1 unreliable source.
Yep.
Why did you print that? You didn't know, and you thought, well, we can just cavalcade forward with the narrative. Except Nigel Farage is connected. He is in a position where he's wealthy enough to be able to do the things that he needs to do. He could take legal action if it had come to that. And I'm sure it would have come to that, frankly, if you guys had just doubled down on this, right?
But Nigel is smart. He knows how the game is played. He knows the media game inside out. Plus, on GB News, he's got a huge platform. I mean, how dumb are you to go up against Nigel? It's just... I mean, fair enough, go up against Nigel with something that is real. Yeah.
Okay, fine. If it's real, he'll have to apologize. He'll have to back down. But if you're literally publishing a lie that can be easily proven to be a lie through 1 freedom of information request, then that was really silly, wasn't it, BBC? I mean, frankly, I'm surprised that Nigel didn't sue them on the basis that this was obviously false. Because, I mean, in the memo, it literally said, Nigel Farage was not compatible with Coots given his publicly stated views and were odds with our position as an inclusive organization. Literally political. I mean, they called him a racist, a xenophobic grifter in the memo. It's like, based, I don't know. But yeah, so the BBC had to apologize, which is a massive humiliation, yet another massive humiliation for the BBC. Of course, Coots offered to reinstate his bank accounts, and Farage was like, well, maybe, but what about a compensation package? Which, good. I want him to get paid. The 2 chief honchos from this had to resign as well, the CEO and CFO or something, both had to resign. So Nigel got his scalps, got his accounts back, and I think Nigel deserves a payout, actually, a nice fat payout for all the stress that this tremendous victory has caused him.
Well, the chair of what, because Coots and NatWest, I think they both had to resign, and but one of them was on a 400,000 pay plan. I was going to get paid off that anyway, but it's the reputational damage of the power of the BBC, and all they have to do is say we were given the wrong information and we want to correct this. And you've been the leading story. You've been trending everywhere for 2 weeks. Your life is dragged out, and the reputational damage. And yet the BBC get off scot-free, and it's Nigel is the one who has to, maybe it hasn't affected him in the eyes of the public, but it affects you if you can't open a bank account in the UK.
It does, but I mean, Nigel's continuing to bang this drum, and he's really pushing his advantage home, and that's great because literally tens of thousands of people have been debanked recently, and Nigel appears to be on it, which is fantastic. But again, that's what cancel culture is, Owen. It's when something is taken away from you for political reasons. It's not criticism, you liar. Let's take another example. Oh, Donald Trump, the sitting president of the United States, was deplatformed from everything. He was taken down from YouTube, from Facebook, from Twitter, from any other Instagram, every social media, Silicon Valley social media platform, over a lie, frankly, over a lie. And so that's interesting. And also, what I think is fascinating is that Joe Biden and his administration, quote unquote, worked in tandem. We are told a lawsuit has revealed they worked in tandem with social media giants like Facebook and Twitter to censor statements they deemed as misinformation about topics including COVID-19 and various other things. Because Jen Psaki had said they'd posted like July 15th, 2021. Then White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki admitted her colleagues were flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread misinformation. So that's literally what the Biden White House is doing. They were scrolling social media, looking for things that they disagreed with, and then telling Facebook and Twitter to take them down. Amazing. Like this is what it is. It's about the powers that be, for political reasons, taking away the things that you use. This was actually stopped by a judge in America, as in a federal judge blocked contact between Biden administration officials and social media companies, ruling that the two were working together to censor free speech. This is what cancel culture is, Owen, you liar. Again, you're just such a phenomenally dishonest person, and everyone can see it.
He knows this is happening.
The reason he's okay with it is because it affects people he doesn't like.
Oh yeah, he uses it as a tool to take out the people he disagrees with. I mean, this story, it's amazing how stories around Trump come up, and you think that's going to blow everything out of the world. That's going to change the game.
Yeah.
The story is there for a day, it then goes away, and that's it. I think no, it should change the game. This blows everything out of the water if the government can collude with social media to ban voices they disagree with. That is a dictator state. And yes, life carries on as normal.
Yes. It's amazing how captured the institutions are. But so, is cancel culture being criticized online? Is cancel culture when you are criticized online? No. Cancel culture is when political activists work with institutions in order to deplatform and silence their political opposition. Again, Owen Jones, you're a liar.
Thanks for watching this segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you feel like supporting the work that we do, then you can subscribe to our website for as little as £5 per month to get access to all of the premium work that we do, including the most recent Comics Corner, which is on the website, which is a series that Connor and I do, where we're talking in this episode about the history of superhero comics. And this is a part 1 with part 2 to come very, very soon. If you feel like catching up with what Connor is doing, you can follow him on Twitter and Getter at @Con_Tomlinson. Thank you very much again for watching, and goodbye.